On this episode of the Press Rewind Prince Lyrics podcast, I'm going to be talking about a song from the 1999 era that has still never seen the light of day, and that song is Lust You Always. The reasons behind this can be debated, but the general consensus is that the lyrical content's a bit too distressing for today's climate. Not that it wasn't distressing back in the 80s, but there was seemingly less public fervor over inappropriate or violent content in our music until, the PMRC came along and totally changed the way we label content in music and, advise parents of children if the music that they are buying for their children is appropriate for their ears. And social media these days seems to have opened up the eyes of younger generations towards things that existed in the past that were questionable or maybe insensitive. And there's really no reason for the Prince estate to subject themselves to the backlash that might come about if this song were to be released. It might damage Prince's legacy, and that is also a very undesirable outcome. And if they've already dismissed him because of a couple of lines in songs like Lust You Always and Extra Lovable from 82, then it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. It's not worth the risk at all. But these two songs are widely available to listen to on the bootleg circuit and have been for a long time. So we're going to talk about them. So, I'm going to cover the lyrics of these songs because I enjoy them for what they are. These are two, I think, very strong songs in Prince's vault from this time period. When the 1999 Super Deluxe was released a few years ago, there were definitely some disappointed fans, myself included, when we didn't see these songs on the track listing. We knew exactly why. Everybody knew why. But it didn't necessarily help us with our disappointment. I've said it and I've heard others say it, like if the Prince estate never releases another album of vault material, we'll be disappointed, but we'll still persevere. Prince left us with a lot of music already, so I don't think that we're owed anything more than what he gave us in his lifetime, and what we're getting is a bonus. And like any bonus, once we start getting bonuses, we want more bonuses and more bonuses because it's extra. It's stuff that we feel is worth listening to, and it's certainly value added to his legacy in our minds, into our ears. So we want more, and I would love to have these two songs available to me on streaming platforms, and to also be able to be put on like streaming playlists, but I can't. So when I listen to them, I have to listen to them either from my old MP3 or just go onto YouTube and find somebody who's uploaded. I mean, I've uploaded both songs to my YouTube channel, so they're there, and so I've definitely added to that online discourse by including these songs on my YouTube channel as well. But I'm not apologetic for it, because I do think that these two songs are great, and I look forward to talking about them regardless of maybe a couple of lines that Prince says in the songs that are not, wouldn't be considered and aren't considered okay. As we go through the lyrics for these songs, I think the themes of the songs will help kind of put into context where these lines words come from, like the use of the word rape comes from. Was it a poor choice? Of course, it was a poor choice of words. And as a young man, he was still kind of learning how far to push those envelopes. He was a button pusher back then, for sure. I mean, he always remained one, but certainly less so as he got older. And he was more interested in, his faith than he was pushing buttons and making people uncomfortable and doing things nobody else had done. That didn't seem to be quite as important to him once he, hit 40 plus years of age. These are young men's songs. And this is Prince in still kind of the rude boy, dirty mind, 1999. This is the era, Purple Rain next year, Darling Nikki, just things of that nature was still very much part of who Prince was as a rabble-rouser, as an artist who wasn't afraid to say things and do things that other artists were not doing or would not do. And so I feel like these songs and the use of that word in these songs was born a little bit out of that. So for Lust You Always, you can kind of get an impression of where this song is going based off of the title. It tells you everything you pretty much need to know about what the content of the song is going to be about in the title, Lust You Always. About a protagonist in the song who is in lust with another woman, and they're basically disavowing any responsibility for their actions, which in and of itself is somewhat problematic, because then it harkens back to the old ways of thinking, like if women can't dress a certain way or look a certain way without expecting men to react a certain way. Absolving men from their own responsibility in how they treat women is problematic. But that's really what this song is about. Throughout the song, he cites examples of how he can't control himself. And he uses words like, I'm not responsible. Like, touch me at your own risk. I'm not responsible for anything I do. I lust you madly. Your kiss is all I want. You're all I want to do. And, yeah, I mean, I get what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, like, this person is so attractive to him, and he's so madly in lust, that he's essentially in an uncontrollable frame of mind where she's in control. And again, this is definitely something that Prince has explored this topic around this time very much so in songs like Automatic, Something in the Water, where the woman has basically cast a spell on him to the point where he's helpless. His actions are helpless. He's a slave to whatever it is that she wants. And that's ultimately what he's saying here in Lust You Always as well, is he can't control his lust. The chorus, my analyst assured me that you were just a phase, but I just can't stop this hunger. It's been going on for days. I lust you always. You're all I want to do. I lust you always. Darling, I lust you. The use of the word lust definitely, again, is reminiscent of other songs that he's recorded around this time and would record, like Temptation, for example, using the term animal, lust, and temptation. Talked about that a bit in that episode that I did with Erica Thompson. And lust being one of the 7 deadly sins, certainly Prince is aware of that and is using this, as a cautionary tale, potentially, like I'm a sinner because I can't control myself. I have so much lust inside me that it makes me a bad person because it's a sin to be, to have this level of lust inside of me. I don't think that was an accident. it's a powerful image, and it certainly goes back to biblical thoughts. And that was intentional. I can't imagine it wasn't. Proceed with caution. You just might stop on something you could never stop. Why I lust you always. It's such a mystery. I guess you're just too hot. Doesn't really add much to the narrative of the song. We kind of already know that this is something that Prince is expressing in the song, is how hot, how attractive. To say you're all I want to do. In the chorus, when he says you're all I want to do, it's almost like a combination of two songs that Prince had already recorded. You're All I Want, which is a vault song from the 1999 era that I already covered. You're All I Want, rockabilly type song. And then Do Me Baby from, of course, Controversy. Combine those two songs, You're All I Want, You're All I Want to Do, You're All I Want to Do Me Baby. You see where I'm going on this one? So, of course, You're All I Want to Do is his way of saying I want to have sex with you without saying I want to have sex with you. And he's ultimately saying it, but in a way that is a little less crass, I guess. Hate me all you want to, hurt me if you must, but I'll chase your ass forever. All my body knows is lust. Always. I lust you always, you're all I want to do. That is kind of like the bridge section of the song. Later in the song, he changes the chorus slightly up, and I like this little switch up of the chorus when he says, my analyst assured me that I get over you, but I get the strangest feeling that he wants to do you too. I lust you always. The rest of it's the same, but I do appreciate the kind of humor that he's injecting in the song here by implying that his analyst, aka his therapist, actually also is attracted to this woman. So in Prince's mind in this song, this woman is so desirable that no man is safe. So in Prince's mind, all of the men in this world that he's built around this song also can't resist this woman, or else he's just projecting a little bit his own feelings of lust and desire, where he assumes everybody else also wants to do her, and they lust her equally as much as he does. That's certainly what I think he's trying to say there by switching up the lines of that chorus. Towards the end of the song is where we do get the line. He has like the spoken word section. Did you know there was a little purple fire burning in your eyes? I must admit for a moment it took my mind up off your thighs. Funny thing, but the thought of eating always makes me nauseous. If I think of eating food, your body is more what I had in mind. My darling, may I have a bite of you? Slow motion ejaculation, purple ecstasy. My body reeks with lust. I will rape you if I must. You see my 4th grade teacher? Her name was Joni. I wanted so bad to see her panty lines, but the principal of this episode said, why can't Prince just play with his? He can't. He won't. I'm sure he won't. I mean, he doesn't play on any of Jamie Starr's big toys, because if he did, they'd sound like they were spinning 78s, because only you could think that funk is great. But now, how does that relate to Why I Lust You Always? It doesn't, but that's what purple music's all about, meaning it ain't rude if you're in the mood. Turn it up, somebody turn it up. Oh, doer, getting a little nasty in here. So that's how Prince chooses to end this song. So if one was to take this song and make it friendly for 2023 climate, or just in general, doesn't have to be 2023, just make it less problematic, it would be easy to just have that song kind of fade out before it gets to the my body reeks with lust, I will rape you if I must line. But that, there's some pretty interesting stuff going on here. It's almost like some of these lines don't make sense. They definitely don't always rhyme. And it almost gives the impression, to me at least, that this person who's singing this song and reciting these lines are so one-track minded and can barely be coherent in their thoughts. They're just like spouting all this stuff that, I mean, he calls it slow motion ejaculation, purple ecstasy. I almost wonder if that's like he's ejaculating from the mouth here with some of these lines. For him to say something like, the thought of eating food makes me nauseous because your body is more of what I had in mind of eating. I'm paraphrasing slightly, but it's ultimately what he's saying. And he mentions, he uses the word purple several times here. And in the Purple Music episode and other episodes from this era, I've talked a little bit about how important purple is to Prince's aesthetic and to his philosophy on life and in music in general at this time. Did you know there was a little purple fire burning in your eyes? He calls slow motion ejaculation purple ecstasy. He even mentions purple music. He says that's what purple music is all about, meaning it ain't rude if you're in the mood. 3 times in this final spoken word section of the song, he brings up the word purple. And he even brings up Turn It Up. So he like literally cites 2 songs from the era at the end of this song. Purple Music and Turn It Up. The line, spinning 78s, I believe that's a reference to the 78 RPM records. No longer really in existence, but they were like the original record, gramophone style records being played were played at 78 RPM. Since then, those have been pretty much discontinued, and all you can really find now are 45s and 33 1/3. He also brings up Jamie Starr. He doesn't play on any Jamie Starr's big toys. So, I mean, he's just throwing references out left and right that are just very era specific. And I think it's cool. I mean, it just definitely puts it in this time frame. It's a song of the time, for sure. And it's not just because of the rape line. Like, for say, if I will rape you if I must, there's no justification for using that. There's no good reason for it, but again, when you think about the whole point of the song is to express some sort of uncontrollable desire for a woman. He's essentially saying, I'm going to force myself on you because I can't control myself. And that's not a good thing. It's a negative thing to force yourself on somebody else. Of course, we all know that. But throughout the song, he's never said anything that's been really like, I would say, to give you any indication that this is a healthy relationship, that he has a healthy obsession with somebody, that it's unhealthy. Throughout the song, he talks about how unhealthy it is. I'm not responsible. I lust you madly. You're all I think about. I have to go to an analyst or a therapist because I'm so fucked in the head about this person. So to use that word isn't great, but it falls in line exactly with what he's expressing in this song, in my opinion. That he's a really screwed up individual who has a lot of problems, and he's blaming all of these problems on how attractive this woman is to him, or just not even just to him, how attractive this woman is in general, if he feels like other people are getting the same kind of vibe from her. I'll chase your ass forever. I mean, these are not healthy things. He doesn't have a healthy relationship with this woman. It's all, as far as we know, it's all one-sided. But it could be mutual, but I doubt it. I get the impression that this is a very one-sided, unhealthy obsession that Prince's character in the song has. So for him to say, I'll rape you if I must, just emphasizes in a very violent with some violent imagery, emphasizes how disturbed this person is in this song. And there's other art out there that has expressed this level of discomfort, obsession, disturbance within the human psyche, and it manifests itself in violent ways in films and television shows. And sometimes those violent ways result in the violation of another human being sexually. The outcome of that, the effects of that, the ripple effects on the woman who's been raped, the family members. We just don't expect other art to not touch on this subject. Doesn't make it any more comfortable, and a lot of people and it's well within their right to say, I will never watch a movie that has a rape scene. And if they know that going into the movie, they know like that's a critical plot point, they have every right to not watch that film because it's going to be too disturbing for them, and it's not a place they want to go mentally. I don't think Prince is glamorizing this. I think it just falls in line again with the subject of the song. Nevertheless, I'm interested in other people's takes on this and what they think about the use of the word, and whether or not they think the song has value, or if it should stay in the vault forever as a result of the use of the word. One last thing I forgot to mention about Lust You Always is in the spoken word section, he does bring up Joni. I had a teacher named with Joni. Of course, anytime Prince brings up the word Joni, you automatically assume that he's referring to Joni Mitchell. He has Joni on the cover of the Controversy album. He was about to do a cover of A Case of You on piano for, what ended up on the piano and the microphone. So we know that he was like, knew her catalog very well at this point. So just another Easter egg there, I guess you could call it. Okay, so I've gone on long enough about Lust You Always. So I think that'll do it for this episode. I appreciate everybody sticking with me on this one. It was a bit of a tough discussion at times, but overall I think the song is a worthy inclusion in Prince's discography, even though it was never officially released. It's a song that people like to talk about, and we like to discuss maybe our reasons for not thinking this song belonged on 1999, or even a 1999 Super Deluxe edition that was released a few years ago. Again, what are your thoughts on the song? What are your thoughts on what Prince was trying to convey with using that word? Should it have been included? And if it was, should it have been edited? Or should it have been left exactly the way Prince had stuffed it away in the vault? So let me know your thoughts, and until next time, thank you very much. Goodbye.